Al-ulama warathatul anbiya. The scholars have taken the inheritance of the prophets. وَإِنَّ الْأَنْبِيَاءَ لَمْ يُوَرِّثُوا دِينَارًا وَلَا دِرْهَمًا. No prophet or messenger has left behind any money as inheritance. إِنَّمَا وَرَّثُوا الْعِلْمِ فَمَنْ أَخَذَهُ أَخَذَ بِحَظٍ وَافِرٍ. Only thing that the scholars have left behind for you is knowledge. Only thing the prophet left is knowledge. And the one who has taken it has taken a great share. How many of us feel connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that we are taking inheritance from him? It is a haqq that is given to those who have this knowledge of Allah azza wa jalla. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he also tells us about Ahlul Ilm. Al-ulama hum ahlullahi wa khassatuh. The scholars of Islam are the chosen ones by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are the special ones with Him. Chosen by Allah azza wa jalla. They are the special ones that He has chosen for Himself subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to give you just a few historic figures to show you, and we'll actually take just a story from each one of the four main madhahib in Islam: Abu Hanifa, Malik, Al-Shafi'i, wal Imam Ahmad rahimahullah. And Imam Abu Hanifa was a rich man, because you have to know, not because a person studies Islam that it means they shouldn't earn an income. He was a tajir. He was a person who bought and sold, who fabricated clothing on large scale and was involved in textiles. Initially in his young age he was poor, but because of the blessing of knowledge and the blessing of learning, he was blessed with wealth as well that he earned. He was a person who was so connected to the worship of Allah Azza wa Jal that when a man comes and asks him, and this is in the riwayat that are authentic in the books of Imam Abu Hanifa about him, a man comes and asks him, Ya Imam, fi kam takhtim al-Quran? How often do you read the Quran? This is not in the month of Ramadan. So Imam Abu Hanifa said to him, Binaharin and bilayl. Do you mean in the daytime or at night? The man said, Billayl, at night. How often? Bisalatin and bitilawatin min kitab. Do you mean while I'm praying or when I'm reading? That's enough, right? That's enough to show you the piety of an Imam Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu arda. When the fitna of this khalq al-Quran came about, people were making accusations and they were threatening the scholars of Islam with imprisonment and punishment and hardship. They came to Imam Abu Hanifa and they took him to the Khalifa at the time, who was in a state of fitna. He was led astray by those who were near him. So they said to him, Abu Hanifa, tell us, do you believe the Quran is something created, meaning it has an end, it's alive and can die? Or is it simply the words of Allah Azza wa Jalla? So his answer to the question, he says to the Khalifa, what did you eat today? And the Khalifa said, what did I eat today? I'm asking you a question. He goes, okay, what did you eat yesterday? The Khalifa says, what's wrong? Who is this man that you have brought? Take him from me, he's not a scholar. Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, so as not to be put in the fitna, acted in a way that led this man think of him as insignificant. And we'll show you how each of the four Imams dealt with it. Al-Imam Malik was a person who the scholars who lived around him said, La yufta wa malikum fil Madinah. Everyone is forbidden to make fatwa if Malik is in the city of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No one can speak. That's his level of knowledge. He loved the Prophet ﷺ so much that he would not ride a horse or a donkey or a camel in Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara so that his body would be off the ground where the Prophet ﷺ was buried. Al-Imam Malik never gave a class unless he was dressed in fine clothing with lots of perfume, and he gave charity to the students who were listening. Al-Imam Malik rahimahullah was the student of a slave. or of someone who was a former slave. And people who were linked directly to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when you look at the chains of hadith, as-silsila zahabiyya, the golden chain of hadith, Muhammad ﷺ said, and it was heard by Abdullah ibn Umar, and it was heard by Nafi' and heard by Malik. Golden chain of narration, no liars in it. It is the most authentic chain of narration that you can find in this path, in this tariq. That is Al-Imam Malik rahimahullah. Al-Imam Malik was a little bit different than Imam Abu Hanifa when he came to be tested. They brought him out and they said to him, what do you believe about the Quran? So he told them, the Quran kalamullah. It is the word of Allah. And the one who says other than this, faqad kafar, has disbelieved. So the Imam at the time, the Khalif at the time, and in all of this, Imam Malik and none of the four Imams revolted. It shows you. They ordered that his arms be pulled by horses from either side until his left arm popped out. It became immobile for the end of his life. He couldn't move his left arm. So you find one of the reasons that an Imam Malik's madhab is to pray like this is because he couldn't pray like this. Although when you read in his book of fiqh al-Muwatta, you see the hadith he uses where to put the hands in salah. He uses the hadith of the chest, to put the hand on the chest. But because he was tortured, he couldn't do it. So some of the later generation, they would use this as him praying like this. We used to see Imam Malik pray like this and pray in that way upon his tradition. Radiallahu anhu wa ardah. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i was the student of Al-Imam Malik. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i lived in Mecca al-Mukarramah. He was from Gaza, from Palestine. But he was originally from Quraysh, but his family had moved up into Ash-Sham. Gaza in the occupied territories of Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring relief to our brothers and sisters there. His mother takes him to Mecca and he studies with the most famous scholars in Mecca al-Mukarramah. And upon finishing his studies at the age of 9, MashaAllah, Shaykh al-Shafi'i, that's a Shaykh, right? His mother says there's no one in Mecca, so you need to go لِمَالِكَ وَكَانَ أَعْلَمُ النَّاسِ حِينَ ذَاكَ. None was more knowledgeable than Malik rahimahullah at that time. And there was only one book of hadith known to people, spread to people, which was the book of Imam Malik al-Muwatta. And there was only one copy in Mecca. So the mother of Imam al-Shafi'i borrowed the kitab and gave it to her son and told him, study this so that when you get to Al-Madinah, and it used to take 11 days by camel, when you arrive in Al-Madinah, you have something to show of your knowledge of what Al-Imam Malik teaches. While on journey, in the heat of the desert, on camel back, as a young child of 12, Al-Imam al-Shafi'i memorized all of Al-Muwatta of Al-Imam Malik. So he comes to the doorstep of Al-Imam Malik and he says to him, أريد أن أطلب العلم, I've come to learn.